broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
It's finally here! Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to the first ever episode of Into the Badlands After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. I am your host, Alexis Torres. You can find me all over social media as atorres890. You can also find us here at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Also on iTunes, SoundCloud, use the hashtag ABTV. Into the Badlands? I might be wrong about that. I'm so sorry. But can't do this show alone. We do have a fourth, but he's not here today. His name is JB. You can look him up. Can't remember his Twitter off the top of my head, but these two over here, which I'm so happy I got my twin brunettes over here.
Yeah, we're so happy to be here.
Introduce yourselves.
Hi guys, my name's Taylor Boldt. You can find me at Twitter at Taybolt, that's BOLDT, and on Instagram at Tbolt, also BOLDT.
And hey guys, I'm Maria Cavassuto, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at MGCVSST.
That was perfect, and I love it. Also, these guys are new to AfterBuzz,
yes,
we are.
So please welcome them with love. If not, I'm coming after you, or I'll send Sunny. Either way. But if you haven't heard about this, Into the Badlands is pretty much a new AMC show. Again, if you didn't know what it was, why are you here? But if you're hearing it for the first time, it's an AMC show. It's the first martial arts show in a really long time that's actually on American television, and it's by Daniel Wu, who I love a lot. From I think Purple Storm is his movie. I'm trying to remember. But,
yeah. I think it's definitely one of the best, the most well done American kung fu movies or kung fu series ever so far. After the first episode, I was kind of, I don't know, I was apprehensive, and I was just so pleased with how
Why were you apprehensive? Tell me the things.
It's hard to do. I mean, it's so hard to do in a series because the hallmark of a good kung fu movie is all of these tightly choreographed fight scenes. Mm-hmm. And they nailed it. I thought they nailed it episode 1, and that's, I don't know. I mean, that's difficult to do consistently. I have to see the next 5 episodes.
I mean, even with a bunch of reviews that were kind of all over the place, but this actually has a story, which was something that I guess going into it, I was a little.
So obviously, there's a lot of world building, which I'm really excited to learn more about it. But we have, it looks like there's 7 barons. It's not really like 7 kingdoms like Game of Thrones completely, right?
It seems like to me it's almost like 7 plantations.
Yeah,
like they're kind of like...
No, like that's pretty much what it feels like to a point.
Absolutely.
I love that.
There's 7 like kingdoms in that there's 7, I think, cultures and identities. Yeah. And they all have sort of the same structure. At least so far we think that they have the same structure.
Yeah, so I guess it's not completely Mad Max, but somewhere along those lines around that time frame, I guess. I wouldn't really know, but
it's definitely post-apocalyptic, I think.
Yes,
and dystopian for sure.
And I love that they're all in charge of something, which is really cool. And I can't wait to find out what the other barons are technically in charge of. I know that Quinn, who we get to meet, he's in charge of
he's
opium
in charge
fields,
of he's growing poppies.
Yeah, so I was like,
we can presume that he's growing for opium.
Yeah,
and we think that the widow deals in oil.
Yes,
and Quinn needs them somehow. They like work together. But we still have 5 other. Also, Quinn's his like sigil seems to be like a red and white armadillo.
Yeah,
I hanging on the side of the plantation.
I couldn't see it, so I was kind of like, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to assume it's an animal.
I'm not totally up and up on my desert land creatures, but I'm pretty sure it's an armadillo.
No, you're correct. That makes sense. But obviously, we open up the episode with, it sounds like MK is probably giving us the most, not feedback, but narration, and it's Sunny riding on a pretty awesome motorcycle, which I'm like, I want, even though I can't ride a bike. But he finds a dead man with an axe in his head, and I was like, okay, I can already tell this is like Walking Dead kind of gore, which is good for AMC.
Yeah.
I'm all right with it.
That's great.
And then more bodies, and I was just like, okay, this is all right. We are getting into something.
Yeah, it's great to follow The Walking Dead. Too,
yeah, no,
right?
and it makes sense for them to do that because the fact that they're kind of on the same level of gore, different time frames, but it's enough action to get you through it. And again, I think it's going to be such a great show. Also, guys, let us know what you think of Buzz TV. Look up Into the Badlands and throw in a review because we would like to know if you guys like it. Maybe it's not working for you. We want to know what you think. So we find
He is the regent, so he's gonna know what to do.
Which is the top. See, we were talking about this earlier. So there's Clippers, who are like the warriors for the Baron, who he's like the political lead, sort of each of the seven kingdoms, or whatever we want to
call it, 7 towns.
Yeah,
I don't
the
know.
7 townships. But he has a regent who sort of is
Top dog
of the Clippers, who are his warriors, and he controls cogs, which are the people who are dead in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's kind of like servants, a little bit, kind of.
Sort of like serfs, I guess.
Yeah, because according to, I was looking up reviews and stuff like that, it looks like the Hollywood Reporter had a really good way of just like really bringing it down, which is like an army of so-called Clippers, fierce, highly trained warriors. Most of them are orphans, which I would have never suspected.
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
Who are trained in martial arts and sharp object masters and kill as their job. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much the best way to do that. But it looks like he comes into looks like a nomad kind of group, and
that's what they're called.
Nomads. There's also people who aren't politically aligned with the barons, I guess, are called nomads.
Yeah, because I didn't understand like if it was just actually people who just like didn't want to be in the town, so they're just traveling nomads, or if that was actually what they're called. They're called that. Okay,
yeah, so they have no affiliation.
See, I wouldn't be able to do the show without them. So I'd be like, I don't know what they're doing.
We've got the glossary.
Yeah, and I love how everyone's called cogs. I thought that was very interesting because at first I was like, well, that seems like a silly title, but technically you need cogs to work a well-oiled machine. So I was like, wow, writers, I like that. But we found out that the transport is part of Quinn's.
It's Quinn's transport.
I was like, it's part of his whole thing.
Were they his cogs? Like, I got the vibe that they were.
I was assuming
his.
that's what it was, because you can even tell from the Clippers that were there, because they had the same red vest outfit thing that Sonny had. So that was my first thing, but I didn't think he was actually going to say it because I thought it was like a lie. And then after rewatching it with you guys, I was like, oh yeah, duh.
But if they were his cogs, were they escaping? Because then it seemed like we find out that the widow paid the nomads, or had the nomads try to capture.
I think that's how it is. I think,
I'm just making sure I'm following.
I think the widow probably paid the nomads, and that's why we see that unshackled part. Those shackles kind of broken up, because I think that's where MK was, and that's why they ended up grabbing him and putting him in that trunk. So I think kind of that's how the breakdown went.
Yeah, because even when they wouldn't even say anything about it, so because obviously the widow really needs MK like that badly, so to the point where he's like, if anyone tries to get in your way, you kill them, and you don't say anything about it. Which obviously I was just like, that trunk was real small, so I don't even know how he fit in that. First of all,
he's a small kid.
He is a small dude, but like in my brain, I'm just like, when I look at that trunk, I'm like, I feel like it's like really small.
I need to stretch out after a few minutes.
No,
I
was surprised. I mean, he did get up
long.
and run after, but obviously we're talking about the fact of Sonny pretty much just annihilates the whole group, which was so beautiful.
It was gorgeous. It was a gorgeously bone-breaking fight scene.
Epic.
There was the one part where he I can't remember which nomad it was, but he pretty much grabbed him and then turned one way and then the other way and then broke the elbow. I was just like, whoa.
There's a lot of dislocation.
Well, no, because I love it, because as a person who's done martial arts all her life, that's a thing. And watching martial art movies, it's me trying to figure out okay, would that actually work, or is it strictly choreography or anything like that? But I love you can tell when something's really, really fake, but I just love because you can see the hand and it's that's not skin, that's not a human it's not a human hand.
But we like it. It's okay.
Did you see some of the moves though?
Yes, as soon as he gets into his first stance, I don't train in Kung Fu, I train in Tung Sudo, Taekwondo, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. That's what my family is known for. It was very interesting. I love watching other people, train and all that kind of stuff. And Daniel Wu he's just so fluid and it's great.
Yeah.
But but when he does his own choreography, it really shows that he's able to do the moves not correctly, but the fact that he can show you exactly where he's breaking and everything it's really good choreography, and that's what makes me really happy.
Does he do all of the choreography?
I think he has his own team.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm not. I mean, don't quote me on that.
Sure.
I believe.
It's too late. I'm ready to get
Dang it.
It's the same team from Crouching Tiger.
Yes,
Tiger,
because the wire work is pretty much the same. If you notice in the rain scene, which I want to really break down later, was they always put a little bit of not dye, but some sort of milk, so that you
chalk,
can see.
I think.
Yeah, so you can see everything, and it looks
Right.
really pretty. So then obviously with all the wire technique, you can throw it up and it's like, oh, it looks so pretty.
Even some of the
cool.
teasers of the rest of the season, you see a lot of wire work happening.
Which I'm totally fine with. I know there was some people who were kind of worried about that, but how do you guys feel about the wire work? As a person who doesn't really like martial arts, is not a thing.
I'm into it. I mean, I think the thing is maybe is I've never done martial arts ever in my life, and I'd probably be horrible at it. But I think
that's not true.
I think honestly, it just looks amazing, and I think if you're tuning in to see the martial arts bit, even if you're not really like familiar with it, you're gonna get a good show.
Yeah,
And I think that's
for
so
sure.
important.
I think if you like kung fu, and I mean traditional kung fu movies, this series is awesome for you, just because it does utilize wire work, it utilizes tight
I just
choreography.
think that that's why I like the Crouching Tiger team, is because they really know how to be able to take a scene and really know when to put slow motion, when to not do that, and then just really show good wire work. Like when he's flipping in the air, like they stopped for a little bit, showed a little bit of slow mo, and then cut back to it, but it's not jarring, which some certain martial arts movies can do that to you.
Right.
So,
I love that kind of stuff. What I'm a little hesitant about when we go to like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is all of the bike pedaling through the air.
I'm okay. See, I'm weird about it. I'm okay with
In
it.
that movie,
it works in that movie.
It works in
Yeah.
that movie. I'm glad that we've kind of drawn the line there in episode 1 that it's superhuman fights.
Just
but
wait.
They
They might pop it out in like the next couple of
Sure,
episodes.
well, we did,
And then
we
you're
did
gonna be
see-
like,
we
no!
did see a little hint in that teaser. We saw a little something for the
yeah,
rest
there
of the
was a
season.
few
But I
in
thought the
there.
teaser was for the next episode. I was like, wow, that's going to be a crazy episode.
It was so funny. He
They
was
were
just like,
that's the
man,
season.
this episode's gonna be 3 hours long.
Episode 2 is intense, guys.
Right, that's it. We only have 2 episodes. They're gonna make it in a 4-hour long sitting. It's gonna be
It's
crazy.
fantastic.
Oh my goodness! But I
But
love.
there might be something else going on. I think with because I saw a moment. There's a moment where there was kind of like there wasn't contact made, but there was an effect. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, no.
Very
I'm noticing.
airbender-like.
There might be
Yeah, and
something
I'm
else
okay
going on
with
here.
that. I was like, yes, if we can have some Avatar throwing, I'm all about it.
But it's also because I feel like it fits with, MK's different than the other potential Colts or Clippers.
Right. We don't know exactly how.
I want to pick your
but he
brain
definitely
about
is.
maybe your predictions about his whole ordeal, because I have things. But obviously we know a lot that the Widow's probably trying to just pretty much rule every single thing. That apparently, obviously when MK gets to the plantation, the town, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the fort. I guess the episode's called the fort, so I guess we could call it the fort.
I mean, I don't know if it's by location.
I don't know.
See,
Does
pilot's
every
killing
baron
me.
have a fort?
Actually, the widow's
would be
name is
interesting.
the Lodge.
Okay, so maybe it is by location, so
okay,
she's
so
probably
there's a
staying at a
fort,
really
a
awesome.
lodge.
I wonder what all
There's
the
a
other ones-
cabin. I want to live in the resort.
I was like, is there a country club
Clipper
that
and the
I can
resort.
stay at
Yeah,
if
the
I can
country
have
club.
just like spa water? And I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, I love how when Sunny takes MK to the fort, and how I love the shot of everyone kind of training in the it's so pretty.
Yeah, that was gorgeous.
They have an
and-
all-male faction there,
which is
that
interesting.
is
I was gonna
interesting.
ask you about that. I'm like, how do you feel? Do you think it's all like that? Or?
No, and I
Okay.
know it's not, because the widow actually, she a little bit of backstory here. It's actually on AMC.com. They have this amazing infographic about pretty much the world and how it works. But the widow, she, like, all her husband's clippers left her when I think he passed away. So she kind of had to bring up a new army, and it's all females.
Interesting.
Oh, I'm so
some
excited
lady
for that.
power.
Well, because I was confused because when we'll get to that scene later, because that was my favorite part so far of the episode. But
Well, I'm interested. I'm still curious because I kind of want to go back to this for a second. As far as the caravan at the beginning,
Yes.
I'm a little skeptical as to whether those were actually the Quinn's cogs
Transports,
that
yeah.
were escaped. Because to me, it's why would the widow? Why would? Because did they escape on their own also? But now you're saying that he has an all male faction, and there was a girl. There was that little girl. Was a cog in that initial caravan.
You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking that transport probably had certain ones for maybe different
Maybe that's the
places.
case. Maybe
So
it's not
maybe
just like
there was
an
a couple of
escaped-
them that needed to. They were on their way to Quinn's
And when I
fort,
say
and
all-male
that-
faction, I meant for, like, the Clippers. So his army is all
okay.
Yeah, 'cause I'm
male.
like, the-
Sorry.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the cogs, I mean, his actual new fiance was a cog. I mean, his actual new fiance was a cog.
That's true.
So
That's what I was gonna say,
That's
because I'm like,
absolutely
isn't she a
true.
cog? I don't know,
Yeah,
but
and some of
that's
the-
what I'm thinking is that maybe they were either transporting all of them to Quinn's, or maybe they're like, okay, you have 2 here. I gotta take some to the widow. I gotta take some to this guy. So maybe that was that whole thing. It's kind of like a giant bus. I have no idea.
Like a
The bus.
post-apocalyptic bus.
Yeah, it's like instead of instead of like the magic school bus, it's like the apocalyptic school bus. Ugh.
A little bit creepy.
But I love when you get kind of a tour of the fort and everything, and then he brings him into like, oh, it's time to go meet the Baron, and of course, Quinn. It's really funny to see. I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but
it's Martin, and then I don't know how to say it
don't
now
know how to
because
say
I'm
his
like,
last name.
it's like Saucus or something.
I don't think I've ever heard his last
guys
name.
in the
said.
chat, please write it in there so I can see
We'd
it.
appreciate it.
But if I like him because I've seen him in a lot of different movies, but I remember him from Lord of the Rings because I'm a giant nerd.
Celeborn.
Celeborn.
Yeah, and that's what I remember him as. So I'm like, oh, it's so funny that you went from this very peaceful, soft-spoken, and he's just like, throwing the Bible around, and I was like, oh, all right, this is that type of Baron. This is going to be interesting.
But also kind of tearing that down. So we
Yes.
live in, I mean, this is a world where like, it's funny because there are rules, but at the same time, I feel like there are no rules.
Well, yeah, I feel like it's kind of like not like iRobot where it has like the 3 laws for them, but like there's specific ones that you have to follow, but you can bend them any way you would like, which I like the fact that there is a no gun law. If you didn't know that, that's why everyone has swords and uses
Out of
martial arts to
necessity.
get,
Not for fun.
Yes, but I want to know more of why, which I know you mentioned while we were watching. I want to know more of why this is a thing. Are we going to get flashbacks from the world before this all happened? I love that we kind of went back in time because of it, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I found it very
even
interesting.
not the preacher, Quinn having the Bible initially, it's like kind of harkened back to this because he started talking about you used to think this and now it's different somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see how all of that plays in what's carried over. But there definitely is a system, I think.
Yes. It looks like his name is on there. I still can't say it, but it's Martin, and then it's Csokas, and I'm like, nope, I'm not even gonna.
Sokes.
Or Sokes or something.
These guys are braver souls than I am. I was like, it's that name. But I love his whole speech of how he said, I think he said, there is no God in the Badlands, and that the people don't really know that there is a world beyond their borders, kind of thing. It's very interesting, and that you have to be loyal to the Baron. So obviously when he shows Sonny's marks all over his back, I was just like, oh, okay. And I didn't really understand because I really wanted to be kind of spoiler free for the show, but I was trying to figure out like, okay, what are these marks for? And when he said, oh, it's for every man that he killed without any hesitation, I'm like, okay, yeah. So
Fantastic.
Sonny is someone you don't want to mess with. Okay. Do you think all the Clippers are like that, or do you think it's just Sonny?
I think all the Clippers aspire to be like that.
Okay.
I think that Sonny is not abnormal, but he's exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably why he's sort of the anti-hero. But it was like over 400 people, right?
Over
It said
400,
he
yeah.
killed a lot of people.
But yeah, because
I never actually counted the tattoos. Maybe I could still frame it.
I mean,
and
I
see,
wouldn't
but
doubt it.
There's a lot
You could
there.
snapshot it and just be like, 1, 2,
I think
3.
it's consistent from what I can tell, also across scenes, because we see his back a few different times.
Which I'm hoping that it's not going to be a recurring thing, but I would like to see more, because I really liked there was a scene where we actually got to see him being tatted for the next one, but I'm always like, you're gonna run out of room, aren't you? Is it gonna eventually
I saw
like?
one little one that was just really tiny and just had the tiniest
Really?
little marks. Yeah, it was like getting smaller.
So
like
maybe
at the end of
that's
a test, you're running out of room and have
You
to
just have to
curve it
write on the
down.
side of the
Yeah.
paper. Oh,
I mean,
no.
he has the rest of his body, unless it's like an only back thing, you know?
That's
I mean,
actually-
yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
There's
I'm like,
other
are we
real
going to
estate.
slowly start to kind
Just
of
come
like
around
fade?
the sides.
Just come around hugging him from
That's
behind.
going to be a drinking game. How many times do we have to add a mark to
Yeah,
him? But
seriously.
then we'll all be drunk by the time. But, drink responsibly, kids.
course.
So, obviously, we find out, the Baron finds out that Sonny brought MK back. He wants to know why the widow's looking for him. So he throws him into, it sounded like the pit, I think is what he said.
The pit.
You kind of prove yourself there.
Yeah, I love how we automatically we find out that there's a dysfunctional family running this whole thing. I was like, well, here it is. All right, we got Ryder, who's the son, who's like, I want to run the family business, but not by you, you jerk. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of those. And I found it very interesting that the Baron, even though he's married or she's married or whatever, can have as many lovers as they want. Well, not
Yeah.
lovers,
Well,
but
I mean-
wives
But
or husbands.
wives or husbands. I
Yeah.
guess they kind of set the law, I guess. I mean, the one law that I saw I mean, it was the Clippers. Even opposing Clippers can't kill barons, apparently, right? We learned that
That's
from
the
the
thing.
widow.
Yeah, and also we don't know if the widow can have as many husbands as she wants. Like, what does it mean? She's a widow, so what applies there? It would be interesting to know that too.
Was she? Was she like maybe a cog and married her baron husband and he died? Something. I'm interested to see the history there.
Well, I mean, again, this is just the first episode, so we don't really know much. I just like to see what your minds are wandering to. But I didn't.
Interesting to see.
I
would
have never noticed that the widow. I mean, obviously she's called the widow, but I wonder if like she does have just like a bunch of loves instead of none at all, because she's like men. Ew.
Also, to kind of add to that dysfunctional relationship, what I saw when I was watching it is that Ryder and Sunny seem to have this kind of clash a little bit, because I think that Quinn really does rely on Sunny a lot in a way that I think Ryder wishes that his father could rely on him. I kind of saw a little bit of a like a pull for power between those two.
Right.
Yeah, there's going to be some drama between Sunny and Ryder.
And that's all I want more than anything. But it looks like A. Wilson said yes, she is a baron's widow. So so maybe I think that she probably killed her baron to become the baron, but that's
we'll find out.
Near here nor there.
That's like episode 4 or 5. I think,
probably.
Before that's revealed.
But that's what I'm assuming, because she seems like the type of person who's like she was probably scorned in some way. Because the Baron can have so many people.
Right.
She was like, F this, you're dead.
Well, in the Badlands, power is taken.
Yeah.
Remember, Quinn gave us that sage advice.
Which is awesome. But so we find out that not the widow runs everything, but she's trying to like put her hands in every cookie jar. I don't know. I'm just going with things off the top of my head.
There is a cookie plantation.
Oh, if there is, I would be the happiest. I would be baron of that.
That would be the best plantation.
Oh man, I love how I wrote in my notes. I didn't even write his name. I just went, some a-hole takes MK's medallion or pendant or whatever. I think his name was Ajax, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
And we find out that this
gets
pendant.
owned.
Well,
it comes back around. It works out pretty well for MK.
Oh yeah, very much so. But I love how the pendant triggered a lot of people, which I want to find out more. Well, I mean, we do know what the actual pendant is, but I want to know why it's causing so much trouble.
Right.
And obviously what
it
he's
represents
made of.
Azra, which is kind of, it's whatever, they kind of said that there's nothing beyond the Badlands, or people are not even sure what's out there, but that's kind of like, of course. But that's kind of what a lot of the cogs are just like dreaming about, this place where there are no barons, there are no rules like this. So that's what that represents. But it's interesting that they are kind of like they all want him.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But then again, I feel like if let's say technically that's where he's from, I feel like that's kind of like the capital for like Hunger Games or something like that, where it's like they're making people. Maybe it's a little bit more rich over there. I don't really
in
know.
Azra, you think?
Yeah.
Or is Azra more like District 13, where it's like the rebels, like you can escape?
I mean, it could be either way. I just feel like from the way
I just spoiled Hunger Games for some people.
Sorry guys. Spoiler alert for something that's been happening for like 10 years. But no, I think it's very interesting, because I think with the way that the jewelry looks, it seems very rich. That's why I said that, like, the pocket watch looks really nice. The medallion is like, there's a little bit of gold. I was being nitpicky about something.
Because there's a compass too.
Yeah, like the compass itself looked really nice. So if it was something that was from some sort of rebel nation, I feel like it's a little too nice. Not saying that rebels can't have nice things.
Sure.
It just, from how the design looked, it looked very like the capital.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: where does the oil go? Where does the opium go?
So that's why I'm thinking that the barons probably know where all this stuff goes to, but I bet you they won't tell anyone that's under them, maybe except from just the families.
Maybe Sunny too.
And maybe Sunny, but if that's the case, then Sunny would have said there's obviously something beyond I
feel like he doesn't know. I feel like he doesn't, because he stares out. I mean, maybe he does know, but here's the thing: like, some people see the symbol, the like city symbol on the medallion, and there's like a moment where they're like,
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. What is with this symbol that causes people to be like, oh my god, or like, what is that? I want to know more.
I think it's something that people will be willing to kill for too, just because Sunny, when he grabs that compass, the guy that he grabs it from has a slit throat and he's dead. So I mean, it's just, I think it'll be that
flashback, right?
It's a flashback.
I'm assuming that's like his brother or someone that he cared about dearly, maybe his kids. I have no idea, because we don't know anything about Sunny yet. Yeah, that's save it for predictions. But no, it seems like Renji in the chat says that Sunny is like the adopted son of Quinn or Quill?
Quinn.
Yeah, Quinn. And
Maybe it's
feels
Quinn.
like he should lead in a way, which is that makes sense.
They had that conversation too, where he's like, Ryder's not going to be happy about this or whatever he tells him, and that's why there's like such a power play. You know, it's gonna be like survival of the fittest kind of. Which I mean, I obviously put my money on Sunny, but I mean,
Well, yeah, obviously, even though it seems like Ryder seems like he's like, you know, tough. Yeah.
Ryder's trying to be tough stuff, but he's still.
Thank you. I was gonna say something else. I was like, stuff. That's a better word.
He's still got some work to do, and Quinn himself said that he doesn't necessarily think that he's ready to take over, or even that he would ever be ready to.
Yeah, but it's very interesting because I can't tell if Lydia, Quinn's wife, is like on his side, not on his side. How did you guys feel about that?
she's an advisor in my eyes.
Okay.
And she probably is more interested in like the power aspect of it and still being up there. That's why she's like, well, I don't care. You know, I have his mind and his heart, and you know, they can deal with the South or whatever is, you know, below the belt or whatever.
She sort of says. But I also feel like there's a moment in her eyes, maybe I'm reading too much into it right after she says that, where I'm like, I'm not so sure you really feel that way through and through.
Yeah, so
like this is bringing up some sort of feelings for you.
Something.
Whether or not that's going to come back around.
I am glad that she feels
episodes,
important. Like, I'm glad that she knows that, like, I have a place, so I feel like she's not threatened by it, but I feel like she obviously, as a wife, she's like, my husband's sleeping with a bunch of people, I don't like it.
I don't know. I think she might actually turn around and either betray Quinn or something, because, you know, I think for her, Ryder comes first.
Yeah, I definitely think that.
I feel like she's definitely taking the mother role, and she's like, you're leaving our son out to dry, and I don't appreciate that, and he's just like, I don't really care.
And she actually says at one point, she's like, you can't abandon him like you did before, or something like that. So there's some little backstory that we haven't...
history,
that we don't know yet.
There has to be a reason why they're dysfunctional besides the fact that they're running a town or whatever you want to call it. But no, I love how, like we said, MK gets into a fight. He gets to meet Bale. He gets his pendant taken away. And we find out that Quinn's actually having some interesting headaches.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
and it seems like he's self-medicating a little bit too. I'm assuming. I mean, I can only assume it's opium because
I mean, he's got that pipe. So
I'm like, did anybody else think that pipe was just ridiculously awesome and or just like wow, that's a giant pipe.
It's a giant pipe.
It's
It was very flashy. I was just like, oh, because at first I was like, oh, is that a gun? That'd be really cool if he started talking about.
If he had a gun.
Yeah,
right?
and then he brought it up to the light, and I was like, oh,
It's just a pipe.
no, he's just gonna be Okay, yeah,
No, he's just gonna sit here and smoke.
I thought he was going to talk about the guns as well. I was like, oh, here's the moment where we find out.
At the very end of it, I was like, oh, it looks like the very end of a barrel, and I was like, oh man, no, he's about to smoke out of that. All right, well, that's where the night.
They changed that scene a lot.
No, but I liked how it went from us being like, oh, okay, well, you know, whatever.
Well, it also shows how much trust he has in Sonny, because Sonny, let's be real, Sonny isn't the most discreet in this episode. He kind of, the Baron sees him staring off into nothing, and I don't know if he's suspicious, and I thought that he was suspicious at first, but that scene kind of disarmed me a little bit, maybe, that maybe it's not suspicion so much as it's that he just does trust Sonny and understands that he is yearning for something else. But he did ask him to move closer. Maybe that's him trying to keep a closer eye on Sonny.
Sure, I don't
possibly.
think so. I think that he feels, because the fact that he knows the widow is coming after him. That was weird. After him, that he would like more protection. But I also think that I think he thinks that Sonny's just gonna be like bye and leave, and he would rather keep an eye on him.
Can he do that?
No, I think that if he decided to leave, which I thought he was going to do,
they'll kill him.
They'll come after him. But also, I think Sonny also knows that he can take out anybody.
Yeah, I feel like Sonny's got a pretty good
absolutely.
shot.
So,
Absolutely.
but we're getting there.
Yeah.
So obviously, Ryder takes the necklace from Sonny because Sonny obviously sees that it's the same symbol as his compass, which he found from some kid who got his throat slit, and it seems like we found out about the animosity between them. But do you think that Ryder's actually going to be able to get rid of Sonny? Because it seems like they're always at each other's throats. Not to play on that, but
Right. I mean, there's going to be drama. I think Sonny. I don't know. I mean, I think Ryder might try, is what I'll say. I think Ryder might seriously try, especially if Quinn, because Quinn seems to be, we're seeing these headaches, we're seeing this sort of like aged Baron who might be, who might be fading from power a little bit, or just struggling to keep a hold on his power. And then it comes down to, well, who gets more sway? Is it the right-hand man, Sonny, who Quinn clearly trusted more, or is it like the son who is supposed to inherit it, I guess?
I have a bad feeling that the mom and Ryder, or Lydia and Ryder, are going to plan something.
I kind of feel that way too. I mean, she definitely is in it way more for Ryder than she is for Quinn.
Absolutely.
And you know, I get that too.
And I'm okay with it, because I think it'll add to the drama, but at the same time I would like to see Sonny just like, he has to be loyal to the Baron, and if his, it would be very interesting to see if the Baron actually like says Sonny like, hey, they're trying to do something, you have to kill them. Oh, that scene will be crazy.
It would be interesting even if like Sonny became Quinn's successor.
Yeah, which I mean, that's
possible.
definitely a possibility. I don't think there's any rule against that. So I mean,
I don't know. See, the thing is we don't know yet how people become barons.
Which, like I said, I would like to have like a world book on like Into the Badlands. I think it would be really, really interesting to see how like laws, rules, and just the world building itself is going to be. But or
who enforces those? Because if the barons enforce the laws, it seems like they do.
I'm saying that there has to be someone above the barons.
It's what it seems like. It's what it like structurally. Just because these 7 independent things, why would Sonny know that he can't kill a baron? You know,
yeah, I completely agree with you.
Unless it would just, I guess, mess up create turmoil in the world, or at least mess up
maybe not. But I mean, if
5
there's
remaining episodes,
there's supplies, there has to be a demand for it. It can't just be through random towns throughout, through the Badlands. There has to be more to it. Right. But I agree. So we don't know our mystery blonde woman's name, right? Because that's how we found out that the Baron can have as many wives, is because Lydia's looking Jane. Okay. Jade. Okay, so Jade, and we also find out, because I'm just going to throw that in there now because it was at the very end, is that we see Jade also sleeping with the son?
Mm-hmm, that's what it seems like.
That's what it looked like.
Okay, because I can't tell if this is the same blonde woman from earlier, because technically we only saw her from like
we saw her from,
a
like,
profile
the back
and like
inside.
Very far
Exactly.
away. So I was like, is this the same blonde woman? I'm really confused. Not to say that all blondes look alike or anything. I just don't know, because we didn't see anything, because she was wearing a blue dress in the beginning, and then she was practically naked in that one. So
I'm gonna say yes. I think it is. I think
seems like it is.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they didn't introduce her any other way. That's the only connection that I can draw between this blonde woman and some other blonde woman.
Yeah, because it would be kind of weird that there's just some random lady who's just like, I'm here to sex you up, and it's like, but who are you?
And where do you come from?
Like,
is she
could you just walk around like that?
Yeah, I guess it's the Badlands.
I guess so.
Into the Badlands.
I was like, I'm so confused.
I don't know if there's any other blonde people other than the little girl.
Ooh, that was a really good eye. I'd never noticed that there was mostly brunettes.
I might be wrong, but I can't remember seeing anyone else.
Was Ajax blonde?
Ajax was like sandy, dirty.
Sandy dirty.
Sandy dirty. He's a boy. I don't know.
He's a dude. I don't know if that counts. But no, I agree with you. I didn't notice that there was not a lot of blonde ladies out there, because even the widow, she has red hair.
Yep.
Right. Well, there's not a lot of ladies, period, that we saw.
That's why I'm really excited to see her all-woman army. I think it's going to be really
awesome.
And even her daughter, which we see just like a teaser of.
With her short black hair.
Was that her daughter?
That was her daughter.
That's my mother, the widow, and I was like,
there you go.
Ooh. I also think that her daughter is going to be like super badass as well. So I'm very excited to see that. So we find out that Sonny leaves to town. We find another mystery lady, and I'm like, who are you? And it's Vale, or that's her name. Her name's Vale, and she is obviously lover, girlfriend. Don't really know how that works. And she has a tiny surprise for Sonny.
Itty surprise.
Surprise! I'm pregnant, and I'm like, oh well. I love how you and I were like, oh, but I wasn't expecting him to react the way that he did, so apparently there's another law that apparently Clippers can't have families, which kind of makes sense, but I mean, I would feel like, can't they just be running around sleeping with people? I
wasn't too surprised,
It seems like they are, kind of. I mean, Quinn promises them women. I don't know what that means, but he promises them
but that doesn't mean families, babies. That doesn't mean that.
I mean, that means, oh, jeez. Well, obviously, there's no protection in this. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you very much.
There it is. I was waiting for it. But no, I love how, there's obviously no protection, so there's probably a lot of baby killing happening, which makes me really sad, but really? Thank you, Steven. But, he obviously knows that she could die as well, because it's, trial by death, and
so she's a cog, right? She's
yes,
a cog.
She's obviously a cog.
She's actually a doctor.
Yeah, she's
like a medic.
I love how she's there's like a very big, you brought it up, that there's a very steampunk vibe, like, we got to see some, I want to I'm trying to think of the actual term, because he's obviously an amputee, and I'm trying to think of what the word is.
Like a bionic.
Prosthetic?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
God, brain. Prosthetic. I love how he was actually kind of freaking out because obviously Sonny might be well known, but if not, he obviously wears the cloak to show that he's a Clipper. So I love how he was just like, oh, he's gonna here to be, I'm here to die.
Right.
And
he's like an intimidating sight, I guess.
Well, no, I mean, if I saw him, I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry. Here's all my things.
You see
I'm
his
gonna
tats,
go
and
now.
you're like, oh man, you've killed so many people.
Yeah, he's definitely intimidating.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But I love how he's very sweet with Vale, and it makes me really sad that,
I'm not sure. I didn't find that sweet, honestly.
No, I meant
It's
before.
like,
His
I meant
reaction
before,
wasn't
keep it right,
sweet.
or whatever.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no. I meant before. I'm sorry. I meant before we found out about the surprise.
He's learning to read. She's teaching him to read.
I thought that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Their
that's what I would
relationship seems very sweet until obviously when it comes to work,
right.
that he's like, oh, that's trial by death. You can't, we can't have children, and I don't want to keep it. And I'm like, jeez, got cold real quick.
But
But
also,
you know that
also
she's
feel
not going
like
to get rid of it. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like we already know that. We don't even have to keep watching for that plot point. She's
Right.
going to keep it.
And Sonny, to me, I do think that there's conflict there. I think he goes into Clipper mode where he's like, no, we have to. No, I'm not a good person. But then we see him staring off into the distance. Like
No, I feel
there's more
like
going on.
he does truly care about Vale. I just feel like he's also very scared at the fact of if someone finds out you and my unborn child are going to die. So might as well cut out the middleman. Oh, if that's a terrible way to say it, my bad. Sorry. To get rid of it now instead of it being a problem later.
Well, also, what kind of life is this kid gonna have?
That's also very true.
I mean, he's gonna be a cog or a Clipper at best. So he's either gonna kill people or be killed or just work.
Yeah, or a servant kind of thing.
Yeah, there's not really a good life unless you're a Baron. I guess.
And I completely agree with the fact that it's not a good life for the kid, but at the same time, it's kind of her choice too.
Yeah.
So I get it.
No, for sure.
And obviously he leaves in a giant huff, and goes to men and goes to Ringo, which I thought was a very interesting name. Was it Ringo? Yes. No? Wait. Well, anyway, he gets another tattoo on his back,
right.
And I was trying to remember the tattoos. If somebody let me know in the chat.
Yeah,
and
I forget his name.
Yeah, I thought it was Ringo.
I think it might be Ringo. That
yeah.
sounds right.
I could be wrong. But he pretty much kind of talks to him about it, and that apparently he's not supposed to be drinking. So I'm also trying to figure out, is drinking a law or is that just his choice?
We don't know
He's just
yet.
got a bad liver.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
know. That's interesting.
He brings it out at when he's putting all the people into kind of like that kind of graveyard pit type thing, and he brings it out then too. So I mean,
yeah. So I'm trying to see if maybe he was an alcoholic before, maybe he's not. I don't really know how that works.
Was he a kid when he became a Clipper? It seems like
we don't know anything about his past. Correct?
I think he was an orphan. I believe.
I knew that he was an orphan.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he was kind of raised up within Quinn, and became a Colt, and then the Clipper, and then eventually a Regent, which is the top dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, someone who's obviously not having a very good day, not being top dog, is poor MK, because he tries to. I guess he was going to use the bathroom, or he was going to go shower.
Maybe he was just wandering around.
He was just wandering, and then all of a
some
sudden
maze
Ajax is like, "I'm going to push you into a wall because you
worst.
embarrassed me."
That is literally the worst place to get ambushed ever. I mean, you're on the way to the pot. Come on.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
I'm
at
like,
least
come
wait until
on.
afterwards, right?
I know. I'm like,
Be
can I do
polite.
my business first, and then you can fight me?
And then you
Right.
can punch me in the face.
Yeah, I'm
It's all
like,
good.
I don't know if he ever used the bathroom. 'Cause
I
he
don't
went
know.
unconscious after
No,
that.
he did not. He was
Poor
just
guy.
like, nope, that was it. It was just like, oh man, I fell over, and it's like, did you even get to go? Like,
I'm sorry,
it's not
dude.
good. It's not healthy. But yeah, so obviously,
We
sorry,
learned
that
a
whole
little
scene was
something.
so ridiculous.
Yeah, it really was.
But so obviously, he gets into a fight. He gets punched in the mouth, I think, or something like
Something
that.
that makes him
punched
bleed.
in the mouth,
And
and
then
he
just-
looks at the blood.
And then all of a sudden,
on
his
his
eyes
hand.
went white to black. And as a person who's a Supernatural fan, I was like, demon! But that's
know.
obviously not what that is.
Yeah, I saw you kind of throw your hands up. You were like,
Yeah, because that's what happens in Supernatural. Their eyes go black, and that's how
Right.
you know that they're a demon. And I was just like, oh no.
He's got some sort
and-
of dark power. Definitely don't think it's a demon, but a dark power
No,
for sure.
I have no idea what they're doing. And Azra, I have no idea. But so he pretty much kicks him into some glass, takes a piece of glass, and just
that he catches midair.
yeah, he pretty much took it like a throwing star and just chucked it right at his eye. And then I love how it went kind of quiet for a little bit, and then it's just a fade of screaming. And I was like, this is awesome. And of course, the first person to find out is Sonny. So I was
Right.
like, okay, this is probably going to be his apprentice, kind of, I guess. I don't know. And then of course he passes out, and that's when we cut to our commercial. But what do you guys think that this power is from? Do you think it's from where he's from? Maybe there's something wrong with him.
See, that's what That's what I don't know. The widow knows whatever it is, right? Because the widow wants to find him. So the widow has the answer. I don't know whether it's something all barons know or if it's just something that she knows. But
well, no, because Quinn didn't know about it. He was like, "Why does the widow want? Why does she want you?"
Right. Well, he may not know
specifically
who, like that it's him, but there might be something else going on. But yeah, the pendant, Azra, that thing. I think that's definitely a part of it. You know, it has to be. But what it is, we'll see.
Sorry, I was giggling because there's some Supernatural fans and they're like, "We thought the same thing," and I'm like, "I'm not alone." Sorry. What did you think?
I thought, like, honestly, she probably just knows to what extent, like, his power can, what he can do with that power, and I think she's gonna want to use that against Quinn. And I think it's kind of like a master. You know how the apprentice becomes the master and whatnot. It's kind of gonna be like that between him and Sunny. I feel like it's gonna be like
between MK and Sunny.
Yeah, between MK and Sunny. Just because that kid, like, one swift kick, and it's like he has this insane power. You know, once his eyes go black. So I think she knows the extent of his power, and she's gonna use it against Quinn.
Do you think she wants him to be a regent for her, that sort of thing, or?
Probably.
Maybe she has something more sinister.
I mean, it makes sense, but I'm trying to figure out how. I mean, obviously he has to learn to control it because if it's just when he bleeds, it might just be a defense mechanism.
Sure.
Which is
you can just cut yourself. You can just like prick your finger.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if he just doesn't know about it because he doesn't really remember. He kind of blacks out and then finds it. So I'm thinking if he can learn to control it without having to prick his finger or anything like that, because I feel like I said, it's like a defense mechanism. So if the body is hurt in any way, it just takes over. So
it's so funny because it reminds me of Anakin in like Star Wars, where he has this like huge power that can be used for good or bad, you know, and then all of a sudden
the Force?
literally, I mean, he's kind of discovering like how bad his power can be and what can happen if it turns dark. So I feel like we're gonna see the same thing with this kid, which we already do. I mean, that's pretty hefty what he's got.
Right.
No, I mean,
I would actually relate it more to like Avatar at Last Airbender, where it's like when he
goes into the Avatar state.
Basically, he becomes super powerful and can just sort of do whatever he wants. For
I mean, I wish he could just go again to add more nerdy stuff to our thing. I just wanted to go Super Saiyan. Just his hair turns blonde.
Does he basically go Super Saiyan? That's what he does.
That's what I want. We just had a giant nerd off. Yeah, we were so happy. So Sunny takes MK back to, I guess, his home, his hut. I don't really know like specifically what it is, and asks him a bunch of questions that he needs answers to. Obviously, MK's like, you probably know where it is because you have a compass and it's my pendant, and he tells him that Ryder, the Baron's son, has his necklace. There's so many things. We found out that him and his mother left whatever town they were from. They got separated by a bunch of nomads, and he's been looking for her ever since. We found out what the town was, which is Azra. And then Sunny tries to go see Vale. This is like right after all this is going down, and my favorite scene of the episode happens where he stops, and I love how it's raining. I was like, oh, this is so Crouching Tiger. I love this.
And it's white rain.
And it's white rain as usual. And just I just love how there was no words. It was just he walked into the street. I love the boulder hats. That was kind of my favorite thing.
The outfits in general
were so cool.
What I'm so excited about, and what we got a little bit from the teaser, is just that it seems every Baron has sort of a style. They have like a costuming style. And I really like the widows. There are a couple others that I saw glimpses of in the teaser.
I'm really excited to see how they're all banded together. That's why I'm very excited to see what the females look like, because I couldn't tell, since I know that these are Clippers, I'm trying to figure out who's like the top, since obviously these are for the widow, and they were definitely male. Right. So I'm trying to figure out like where I'm assuming that maybe like her top assassins are probably all female.
Yeah, she has a group of females, and I wouldn't doubt that her daughter's probably her regent.
Oh yeah, would not doubt that at all. That's especially the way that she was dressed. I was like, yeah, she's probably like the main lady. But that whole scene, what were your thoughts going through it before we like jump into the ending?
Sure. Well, I love any scene where there's like no talking like that, and it's just someone shows up, they draw a sword, and then like the hero like looks behind him, and two more people show up, and they draw swords, and he just draws his sword. Like it's just everyone knows like, okay, this is gonna happen now.
Did you guys know it was the widow in the car? Okay.
Yeah.
I suspected just because.
Yeah.
I didn't know for sure until she said that she was a Baron, and then I was like, this is definitely the widow.
I just feel like you show up in a car in like this little area. I'm like, well,
I'm a little confused. What is this town?
We have
what is this
no
town place?
idea.
Because it's like outside the fort, but like Sonny can access it readily.
Yeah, it's in walking distance because he was riding his motorcycle earlier, but then he was walking here. But I don't know if he like parked it somewhere and then walked. Like it's hard because it's obviously not on camera.
But if this is Quinn's town, right, where his cogs are, or how she can just like roll up in a car.
I mean, it was late at night, so I'm assuming that maybe nobody knows about it, or if they see the widow's car, they're like, well, okay, we're not here.
There's probably like martial law curfew.
Probably. I mean,
she also didn't seem like she was trying not to be seen.
Yeah, I don't think she cares.
Yeah, I don't think she cared at all.
She kind of made an entrance.
Yeah, she kind of did. I think she very much wanted.
I'm like,
to be
she might
seen.
as well like put her brights on and be like, all right, we know you're here.
We see you.
She literally, I think she literally had them on.
No,
too.
like, no joke. And it was just like, all right, you're blinding him. We get it. But no, that scene was really great, and obviously she was there to find MK. Of course, he lied and was like, oh, I don't think he lied, but he's like, you can't take him. And I love how he wanted to kill her, but she knows that you can't do that.
We learned that
but then what would
Clippers
be?
cannot kill barons.
Let's say, okay, you can't kill the barons, but what are the consequences, right? Like, what does that mean?
I have no idea.
Like, exactly, because if it's that
like
baron enforces that law.
Yeah, I guess it's like if you tried to kill like the president or the queen or whoever. I think it's just you will.
Right.
Yeah, but nothing stops you from doing it.
But the Clippers are sort of
loyal.
the law.
They are, and they're like they're pretty much like police officers to a point.
Yeah, like soldier police officers.
I don't think he has any. I mean, being loyal to Quinn, I feel like what really stopped him? I feel like there's a lot more in there that's unspoken.
But I also
it might be something like if he were to kill one baron, all of the other barons would come after.
That's also true.
Just
and
like checks and balances
it'll
system
bring
sort of
back
thing.
trouble for the baron that they are loyal to.
It definitely wouldn't be a good thing.
No, I mean we all know that.
It wouldn't create stability.
Of course, it wouldn't be a good thing. I'm just saying, like, as Sonny, like, you don't. I mean, really, you can like lift up your katana and be like, and gone. You know, like, what is it? So I think there's more to that.
I think that he there's a lot going through his mind of like, if I do this, what happens after? I think the aftermath is what he's mostly concerned about. So obviously that whole thing went down. I was like, all right, so what do you do after that? Go home, have some coffee?
Is he intrigued by the Azra thing? Because she shows him the pamphlet. Because it seemed like maybe he was thinking about, because he like goes up to the door and then stops, you know what I mean? Because that was Vale, right?
That was he was coming to see her.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like he's thinking about it, like he's thinking about leaving maybe, and then he kills a couple people, no big deal. And then she appears and shows him this pamphlet, and he's like, all right, maybe like he might be thinking that he will, because she says, you get in touch with me. I mean, I don't know if you can just call her. Or what,
I don't know. Send an owl. I don't know. A raven.
What I think is that I think nobody necessarily believes that Azra like exists, but I think at that moment, because the widow's coming after this kid and whatnot, it's like it all becomes very real. So Sonny's like, hold up, this might be real.
No,
so I can't. I need to do something about this, and you let the kid go.
Yeah, and I think it'd be very interesting, and I love how Bale tries to help MK escape. Sadly enough, he gets caught because he's like, I'm not leaving without my pendant, and like runs up there. That's obviously not how he talks. I don't know.
But that was basically
pretty much how it feels.
That's what it felt like.
Thanks, guys. But no, so he goes in there. But the one thing that caught my eye as Ryder had him up against the wall was the mom had a look of like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and I'm like, what are you making that face for? What does that mean? I thought it was like, is that like your adoptive son? Like, is that why you're freaking out? But I mean, I feel like he would know what his mother looks like, so that doesn't make sense. So I don't know. Maybe that's where she's from. I don't really know. Did you guys see this look, or am I just crazy?
I saw some look, and I couldn't tell whether it's not. For me, it was more like, are we letting him go, or are we? I thought she was going to stop Ryder and be like, no, we're not caging him. Because I remember that's what he said. I thought she was going to save him, kind of like come in between and be like, it's not worth it.
Right. Yeah. I think that it has to do with, again, like I feel like everyone sort of, like when people see that pendant, they feel something one way or the other, or they have no idea. But you can tell who's who. Sonny saw it and was like, this reminds me of something, and it reminded him of the compass. Now, whether or not he has any other knowledge about what it is, or he just like, this matches that compass I found that one time.
Yeah.
I don't know. But for her, there's no other explanation as to why. Like I think she knows what this is. So I don't know if she just realizes that he's special in some way, or if she knows more about like his history, or she just knows of Azra, or if she has some sort of grand scheme. I don't know. I feel like
I'm just really trying to figure out what that look meant, because it looked like there was something
going on.
there. I know we got to wrap up soon, so let's get through this very, very last part. Obviously, the writer is going to execute him in the morning. Sonny comes to show up, and I love that he was like, can you do me a favor? Because Sonny tells him you are gonna die in the morning, and he's like, tell my mom I love her. I was looking for her. I never gave up. That kind of thing. And of course, Sonny's like, I'm not gonna be able to do that. And I was like, no.
That was really hard to watch. I was like, that was really, I think, the most emotional part of that episode.
Oh,
it really that kid was just like on his face, that close up. I'm like, oh wow.
Well, see,
It
as
was great. The
emotional
lip
as that
quiver
was,
and everything. I was
was
like,
great.
I know.
This guy.
But I kind of knew that he was gonna say no. I almost said out aloud no, just because it's a ridiculous request. Because Sonny, up to this point, he's been so defined by his loyalty, by he's following the code. And even the moments that we see, he can't follow through. Like there's like these moments of like, oh, maybe I should like leave, and then he chooses not to do it.
Right.
And he chooses not to kill the widow, and all of these different things. And whether or not, I feel like that's gonna be later episodes, how loyal he stays.
Right.
But to me, I don't know. I feel like
he'll be, the thing is, because he's so structured and in the way he works, and we can kind of see like how he operates just a little bit. I think that was predictable. However, I think we're gonna have a turn at some point where Sonny does something that's very unpredictable, and I think that's gonna probably snowball and like release this kind of chain of events, and that's where everything's gonna go down.
the turn of his character.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
where he
probably
breaks
gonna
out
be
of
a
that
big
loyalty,
series
maybe.
turn.
No, I completely agree with you. I kind of wanted Sonny to be like, I'm coming with you, and like do that whole thing, but
too.
it
Me
didn't
too.
happen, which is fine. So obviously he finds somewhere for MK to escape. We get.
Which happens to be in the middle of the field.
I was like,
of
so
the
no one's
plantation.
watching.
And
Nothing.
he doesn't like
anybody?
look over his shoulder.
Nope. He just
nothing.
he does it and walks away like a badass.
And
I was like, okay.
Of
But
course,
there is someone watching him.
Yes.
Well,
of course.
yes, it's Lydia, and I want to see what she's going to do with this information, because we didn't get to see that. Obviously, that's when we got to see our Jade walk into Ryder's room, and then the Sexatan. And then we had the Baron just listening to music and
Smoking his pipe thing.
smoking his pipe and
Yeah.
having a great time. And that's pretty much how the episode ends. So we can jump into predictions really quickly, and we can talk about it.
Your AFTERBUZZ
Yes, this is our light show.
love it.
If you're new to our show, guys, during predictions, this is where we pretty much talk about just what we have for either the next episode, what we want to see on the show, things like that. So I'm gonna let the newbies go first.
Oh yay! Thank you.
Go for it. Oh,
Aw.
yeah, go.
This
You
is
don't
nice.
have this much time. I'm just kidding.
Okay. What I want to see is some warfare, and I think it's coming. I think
Fair.
that there's going to be a Baron War of some sort. Because I think that they've set that up, and they're gonna have to follow through on it,
Yeah.
And I'm eager to see what the other barons are about, what their fighting styles are, or like what their desert animal of choice is, whether it's the armadillo, the Quinn uses.
Snake. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think the
Who
widow's the
else is
Desert
butterfly.
rat.
Is it the
Which
butterfly?
I love.
Oh, yes, a
I'm
good
a
desert
big fan of
animal, the
butterflies.
Very
So
delicate.
it was so pretty. I thought it was gonna be a black widow, and I was really upset, but I'm okay with it.
Well, she wasn't a widow when she became.
Yeah, I know. So
the
I was like,
Baroness.
well, maybe she just wants to be
It's a
free like a
butterfly.
butterfly. I don't know. But what are your predictions?
So I'll just tell you one thing that I know is going to happen, but I really want to see one-on-one between the Widow and Sonny, and I can see that happening, and that is going to be bloody, and that is going to be epic to watch, and it's going to be amazingly choreographed. I absolutely don't doubt that. So that's what I want to see for sure.
All right. I want to see. I definitely want to get more world building because I want to know more things. I definitely want to know how MK is going to survive on his own. Besides, obviously, we know he has some weird powers
Right.
to get him through, and some black magic. I don't know.
Black
And then yes, I do want to see just how Sonny is either, because he does say in the technical preview of that, he's like, we're getting out of the Badlands. So obviously Vale's going to be going along. So I don't know
Sure.
if that's going to be happening next episode, maybe later on in the season.
And
don't
baby
know.
will be alive.
Oh
Still
yeah,
good.
I'm trying to see what happens if we do get, cross your fingers for season 2, that maybe there will be a baby and then he has to defend the baby.
Right, you have to figure out how do you raise a child in this environment.
I know.
That'll
It's going to be interesting. But we also want to know what you think, guys. Again, go to iTunes, SoundCloud, go to this video here at youtube.com, comment down below, share it. We might need, if you tweet out to the actors or the directors or the writers, we can come have them on here and tell
Yes.
them about it. We would love that. But guys, it's the end of the night. Tell them where these beautiful people can find you, beautiful people.
All right, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at MGCVSST.
And you can find me on Instagram at tboldt, BOLDT, and on Twitter at tboldt, also BOLDT.
And you can find me all over social media, and where all Alexis Torres are sold at atorres890. Again, guys, don't forget to share this all out. Let us know what you guys think and what we need to improve on, and we'll see you guys next week for episode 2. Bye!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.